Actors simply don't get much bigger than Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks.
You know what my husband said about the news. He called it the first rough draft of history.
With 5 Oscars and 25 nominations between them, the pair have teamed up for the first time, joining forces with another titan of cinema, Mr. Steven Spielberg, on his latest flick, The Post.
Do you have the papers?
Not yet.
Oh gosh, oh gosh.
Meryl plays Katharine Graham, the real-life publisher of The Washington Post, who is in a race with the New York Times to expose the Pentagon Papers, a massive government cover-up that spans 3 decades and 4 presidents.
There's dozens of stories in here. The Times has barely scratched the surface. We have 10 hours till the deadline, so we dig in.
Together with Tom's character, Ben Bradley, they must overcome their differences as they risk their careers and their freedom to bring the truth to light. We threw Amelia Ballinger right in the deep end, interviewing these massive names to find out what took Steven Spielberg so long to work with Meryl Streep.
I don't know. I couldn't imagine Meryl hitting the beaches in Saving Private Ryan, and I wasn't sure that Meryl was right to be in Munich to lead the Mossad on all of these raids overseas. You know, it's just like, I always think of Meryl when I'm trying to find something to do with her. I think Meryl is arguably the greatest actress of our time. I would certainly put her in the same category with Katharine Hepburn.
I'm asking your advice, not your permission.
I felt like I was in the audience watching a movie. I had to remind myself I was directing the damn picture. I would get caught up in the way they were playing the scenes, and then I would sometimes forget to say cut. And when the dialogue ran out and they stopped acting, I would go, oh wow, this is just a scene in a movie, and I would say, okay, cut.
For a film about the past, The Post found itself premiering amongst some very modern headlines about the treatment of women.
That bolstered the hornet's nest activity of the movie that we were making. We started digging in deeper, and we were actually kind of like ordered by Steven in order to ratchet up the authenticity. We were like storm chasers. There was this hurricane, a cyclone on the horizon, and we were like sucked right into it. Yeah.
Meryl plays a vulnerable character who finds the strength to take a stand when it really counts, which has parallels to what some women are going through in Hollywood right now.
Absolutely, and the courage to step forward when everything around you says be silent. Somebody said courage begets courage. Each one that speaks up bolsters the next one, and suddenly you have the rise of the Time's Up movement, the Me Too movement, and it's making a correction in society across many industries. It's everywhere.
Now, incredibly, you two have never worked together before.
Righting a wrong that has been, you know...
That millions have
been calling for, yes.
Can you tell me, what was it? What was it that surprised you most about working with one another?
When we first worked together, and we had a major, like 7-page scene. Monster scene, and my way of working is just to kind of ease in through a rehearsal or two. But Steven doesn't rehearse. Steven Spielberg doesn't rehearse. He knew that, and he didn't tell me.
No.
Didn't give it the heads up.
See, first of all, we were all expecting behavioral guidelines to come in. How to work with Miss Streep. Number 1, please do not greet her in the morning. Number 2, do not look her in the eyes for the first 40 minutes of a working day.
Address me in character.
Number 3, never ask her to run the scene. She is concentrating too deeply. Number 4, ignore her trumpet players and team of sycophants that surround. I've done movies and plays, by the way, when I haven't paid any attention to what the other person is saying, because I'm too busy thinking like, I've really got to turn this thing around in the next scene. And I have a line coming up. What the hell is this line coming up? Well, I'm sorry. This is my charming honesty that is getting around a more difficult subject. I was actually paying attention to her side of it.
So we're going to see you together again after this great
experience. I think the world is going to demand it, don't you?
Our basketball movie.
Hello. Yes.
I love a good turn-on movie. I have not been as excited about a movie as this in a very long time.
Okay.
Because the Washington Post, you know, it's refound its reason for being, and they all talk about the Pentagon Papers now and the need for it to do those kind of stories in the Trump era. It's really, really exciting.
And so important to see how much courage is needed to make change. How timely is it?
Newspaper editors, you know, they're really important
powerful.
people.
Well, The Post is out now.